good, my anime people? What is good, yo? So we just had ourselves an interesting episode of Blem. Uh, I don't know anybody that's kind of like very negative towards this show yet, but this episode just helps that fact of not being negative towards it, man. This was a messed up episode, and I think one of the most heartbreaking things when it comes down to trust and loyalty and just, having compassion for something, but your compassion still not being enough to garner enough trust throughout every situation that occurs. And we've now seen this twice with both the male characters really putting a lot of faith into certain humans in the case of, okay, you're willing to keep seeing me, you're willing to not attack me once you've seen me, but will you still be that same way if you saw me covered in blood or even in my transformation form? Would you still not attack me, or would you still see me as a friendly to you? And now both of the males, that I'm guessing are males, have suffered, this. Well, I guess they all three of them have suffered it actually. Even the girl finding out that she was trusting someone to then be put in a situation practically to die by her was the whole goal in the grand scheme of it. That's another that's another huge flag in the grand scheme of, like, if you want to become human, is that what you're really going to become? Are you going to become somebody who would sacrifice another life so you can feel better about yourself? Would you, like, what is the furthest you're going to go? And once you've gone that far, why not go further? Like, why aren't you going to continue your that continuous, like, evil deeds? And that's what we kind of see in this week's episode. What evil deeds and just having just having a lot of power and money can put you at. Because these guys were so high up and because they were getting big heads, someone hired a ninja to pretty much just start taking out all of these big business conglomerates. And by taking them out, a lot of others would start inheriting their wills, would start, taking over their businesses and such. So once we see this kid who, shows up and he's talking all this trash about, man, I'm the best at this video game and I'm the best in the upper. I just came down to the lower to see if there's anyone down here worth, you worth my time and stuff like that. And come to find out, the first person that he's told about is this kid, and he gets absolutely thrashed by him in his video game that, he's supposedly supposed to be the strongest in and stuff like that. So that's kind of where this rivalry and then the friendship starts to build through a game. And then after the game's over and the father gets attacked by the same ninja that we see in the beginning, who literally is accurate enough to shoot through a wine glass and still hit you in the neck. But he wasn't good enough to take on this main character of ours, who knew he was a kid, but gave him the compliment that he was trained like a man. So we have a kid who literally can outclass someone who is, life in the shadows, moving quick and swiftly. This dude was so, like, just ridiculously broken that even once he put a sword through somebody, if you looked behind him the whole time, you would never known who did it. Like, if he just jumped out the window at that moment, we would have never saw him. Is how, like, hidden he was behind the guy he attacked. So it's amazing to see where they can go with these types of stories and where they can give us all this information from, because as of right now, I didn't believe that we were going to get such a conveying story to why this kid is so, like, alienated from humans. And this is kind of it, right? Like, he doesn't want to be with the humans only because of something like this happening. He just got close with the kid that, they had the same common likes and stuff, but because he was there when the body was still dead and the blood was all up on him, there was nowhere else to point the finger to but him. And that's where the idiot, or the ignorant, like the ignorant and the, I was going to say, idiocracy pops up. in the sense of, oh, you protected, like, he was warned not to go to this kid because he had certain training to be able, like, he's like a quote unquote an assassin, right? He could be with assassins. Pretty much Kilo was what he was telling this his son, the snobby kid, like, don't go around him. He's probably capable of taking us all out without us even knowing it. Seeing how someone just literally came in here and tried to take us out, and he stopped practically every single attack dead in its tracks. So that's a problem. You need to get away from him. And then he then tells you not to come in. Like, the kid runs in that you're not supposed to be in before you, knowing that the first time he ran away from you, he went to go save your father and the guy who your father was protecting. But now this time you believe he went in to just kill your father? You know, like, it doesn't, that thought process doesn't make sense. But in the heat of the moment, they really sell you on the fact of, you killed, you know, like, that's what most people would have believed in that moment, in that second, in that time, that the one person who is drenched in blood and the person who is dead next to him, you put one and one together and that's it. There's never one plus one plus one, the ninja guy that's out and thrown out the window during this, but you'd have enough time to put one and one together. So, including seeing how there was already broken glass. Like, there's a broken big hole, and your father is dead here, away from the said hole, but I run to the hole and use it as my escape. Like, how did that get there? I don't know. I can't explain how a snobby dummy is going to ever understand what happened in that room. But because of it, we will probably see him become a problem in the future, or, you know, maybe he's going to have to inherit all of his, like, father's possessions and stuff like that. So, like, where does that put him after, when he gets, like, free time? Or is he going to do research and looking into finding, you know, this guy, knowing where he's going to want to be playing video games and stuff like that? I mean, he's the only one that knows about even this kid's friends, besides, like, the monsters that he hangs out with, knows about the people he hangs with. But now this snobby kid who has all the power to kidnap said kids, or even just send people out there to attack them, you know, he's a very new variable to this whole thing, and I like it. Like, everybody has now made some type of problem within their human life to have someone watching them, and I think that's really, really cool. Not to mention the fact that once the ninja guy, the shadow guy, is actually taken out, we see that there looks like there's an organization of people that are as skilled as him, or at least knew of this work he was doing. In the case of, he was hired, right? Like, someone hired him to do this, and there was multiple people who you could have hired, but you wound up with that guy, and he just ended up losing his life. So it's kind of like the Deadpool, with, like, all the mercenaries go to drink bar, like, their bar and stuff. So um, I kind of like that, that there's seemingly, you know, they're gonna try to probably avenge him. You know, like, I mean, not maybe for the reasons why, you know, like, oh, he died and he was my friend. Like, maybe someone might be like that, but I think it would be more or less for the fact of the reputation of their people being taken out. But what we know is he actually gets picked up by the freaking professor, who turned someone else into water. So imagine what he could turn a ninja who was already practically a shadow into. A shadow. No, but I can't wait to see what they actually do with this character, now that we are understanding what the professor could do from the very, like, first two episodes to now him getting someone really ridiculously strong and maybe boosting him up even further. It definitely would take all three of them, in my opinion, because he was even keeping up with the monster form of this kid when, you know, he could keep up with him as a kid, as a non-transform. He was keeping up with this guy, and then now all of a sudden you're telling me once he transforms, the ninja guy still put up a little bit of a fight, you know, to the case where if we give him a massive power up, I'm pretty sure we see something different. So with all that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, evening, whatever the case may be. I have finally finished all the videos. this was a crazy day, and I'll probably make my video for Heroes later today and drop it with Fairy Tail sometime soon. But until then, I will honestly be waiting for more stuff to see drop and see what you guys are saying in my video in the comments. I read all of them, so hope you guys have an amazing one. And it's Sunday. We got Monday coming up with more anime, so yeah, let's get into it. This is what I love to do and love to see your guys's also your opinions and your thoughts on this stuff. This is really, really the hard part of making this daily stuff, but at the same time, this is really the fun part too because it's only what 3 o'clock almost in the afternoon, and I'll be done for the rest of the day. So have an awesome one, and I hope you guys enjoy. Peace.